The Blackhawks face the Washington Capitals at the top of the hour. Alex Ovechkin needs 2 goals to tie Gretzky, 3 goals to pass him. Will he do it tonight against the Blackhawks? And do we want him to? We'll hear from Nick Foligno and Anders Sorensen, too, coming up next on the CHGO Blackhawks pregame show. Caps dropping the puck soon, powered by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. I'm Jay Zawoski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's over there running the show. As always, we appreciate you being with us. Do us a favor, hit that like button for us, and subscribe to that YouTube page. We would love if you did that for us. We've got Hawks and Caps coming up at 6 o'clock. The big story of the day is obviously Alex Ovechkin's chase to pass Wayne Gretzky in goals scored all time. He already scored his 800th against the Hawks, and yep, he did it with a hat trick.
With a hat trick, yep.
We'll save this. Let's get into this later in the show. We've also got a little bit of Hawks drama going on today.
So much drama.
Yes. So why don't we hear from Anders Sorensen? We'll share the lines, get into that, and then we'll talk about Ovechkin to wrap up the pregame show. But here's Anders Sorensen ahead of today's game, courtesy of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Looked like Spencer in net.
Yes. Yep.
And then Reichel and Demastro were coming out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is Reichel fine? He seemed like a little bit banged up last game, but.
Yeah, it was disciplinary. Missed meeting this morning.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
How tough is that at this stage of the season to be dealing with something like that?
Yeah, I mean, it you hear about it, it happens, but yeah, learning lesson, right? It's just, you got to be a pro.
Obviously, a lot of the focus tonight is on Ovechkin. How much do you play that up? Are you using that as a motivating factor to try to play spoiler here? Absolutely.
That's what and I think that's a big part of it, right? We want to play the right way here, but we want to take away his time and space, and let's win the game is our number one focus, right?
What is, I guess, the game plan against him? I mean, all the teams have tried and failed, so.
He's probably
well, I think if we had the answers, he probably wouldn't be where he is, right? I mean, he's a special player. He finds ways, right? But obviously power play, you got to be aware, right? You got to be on him, take away his time and space. He seems to find space anyways, but we're gonna do our darn best here for sure.
It's a dumb question, but why is he always open on the power play? Why don't teams just throw bodies at him and let someone else try to score?
I don't know if I don't think it's a dumb question. I think it's a puzzle, right? I think everybody's tried to solve it for the last how many years, right? I think his hockey sense is through the roof. So he just seems to find space. And obviously the way he can get a shot off within instant, right? Like it's quick and his timing, and yeah, it's a great challenge, right? I mean, we're gonna try our best to take away his time and space there.
Foligno was talking about how his role has kind of changed as the year has gone on, and what have you thought of his season?
Overall, good. I think to his point, it has changed throughout the year here. A lot of young guys coming in and maybe taking roles that he's used to playing, but he's handled it really well, and he's a true pro. He knows what he's part of here, but he supports the young guys. He helps the young guys out on and off the ice, and he's an extension of our staff as well through the room here. So, nothing but positives there.
Do you use him as an extension? Or do you talk to him about, okay, this is what the coaches are discussing and that sort of thing?
Yeah, he's the captain, right? So we do talk if it's schedule or little tweaks that we might want to look at, and just making sure that they get what we're trying to say and that he can help out, especially with the young guys, right? Some of them haven't seen some of this stuff, so it's new to them. So helping them out, making sure, hey, make sure you talk to Morsey about this. Yeah, he's great.
That is Anders Sorensen, who does not have an answer on stopping Alex Ovechkin, because no one does.
Well, we wouldn't be here tonight if someone had the answer.
Yes. It's going to get cracked tonight.
Yeah.
Tonight's tonight. Wait a minute.
I believe Andrew
Pulls
Sorenson
out the whiteboard. X's and O's. We got it.
Stop Ovechkin.
We figured it out.
Got it with a big circle on it.
Yeah, someone tackle him. That's how you do it. No, the drama from the pregame is Lucas Reichel is a healthy scratch for, he said, missing a meeting.
Yeah.
That's not being late for a meeting. That's flat out not going.
Right. Like what I was saying, I mentioned under the video, I said, is it splitting hairs, or is it something to saying
there's a difference.
Someone missed versus being late?
Missing,
because when Levshinov in Rockford sat for his meeting, I can't remember if it was exactly missed or late. I feel like it was late for. Well, correct me on that one, but either way, I feel like, what we learned from Alex Vlasic was that sometimes Lucas Reichel needs an adult around to help him out. If it's missed a meeting, that's really bad, and yeah, you absolutely sit him for that. Missed a meeting or late for a meeting, not as bad, but still reason for disciplinary actions, and he's gonna sit tonight, which stinks because he was towards the end of this season kind of getting a little bit more opportunity that we had been kind of saying, like, hey, he's been doing really well on this fourth line. Yes, he's doing well with guys like Craig Smith and Pat Maroon and guys rotating through on the fourth line. Like, maybe see what he can do up the lineup now that he's kind of had a little bit more of a consistent spot in the lineup, where some consistency was felt in his game. Some more of those flashes were being shown. Now maybe try and do it up in the third line. And he was getting an opportunity with that. And now this happens, and it's just like, boom, derails the momentum again.
That, to me, is what is the most disappointing about it, is after 75 games, you finally get an opportunity to play
right
on an exciting line, and you blow it. And I do think, we talked to Alex Vlasic, Lucas might have some attention span issues,
maybe, yeah,
and some responsibility issues going on. I have many people close to me, and I'm a little bit guilty of myself, that have the old ADHD tendencies. And like, you don't set the alarm, or you set the PM instead of the AM.
Yeah, I get being young. Yeah, and sleeping through alarms. In college, it was a poor decision on my part. I fully admit that, but I thought better. I thought, I'll be able to do it. I had a military training PE class course that was like,
I missed that on
hey,
purpose.
like, wake up at 5 a.m, go run 2 laps around a thing, do a couple push-ups and sit-ups, and you get credit, right? The hardest part of that was wake up at 5 a.m. and go to the university athletic facility.
Yeah.
My missed class rate on that had to be at least 50%.
Oh,
it was impossible for me. So much so that the instructor came to me one day and was just like, do you need me to like call you every morning to like wake you up and get you here? And I was like, nah, I'll be fine. It wasn't, but so it's hard for some people.
Sure. Yes, I understand that. I also spent an entire semester thinking a class started 15 minutes later than it actually did. And I kept showing up, and I'm like, why do you keep starting without me? And the teacher goes, do you really think that we're just starting without you? And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I really thought I was
to be early. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
oh, man.
I don't think Lucas was out, gallivanting around the nation's capital. I think he probably just had an alarm clock issue, but there's got to be a consequence. And I saw, on Twitter, some people upset about it. You can't let that stuff slide. You can't. I know
you're not. It's Lucas Reichel is not the guy that you're gonna bend the rules for. There's no one you really bend the rules for on this team.
No,
as far as disciplinary reasons go. But if you were even in that scenario, Reichel's
if you're
not
2
the guy
points
to do
out
it.
of a playoff spot, 75 games in, maybe we never hear about this, and he's disciplined in other ways.
Yeah,
but it's the right thing to do.
Right,
to let him sit. You put in Philip Kurashev, who was there on time and did everything right.
Sure, yeah.
I get that people prefer Lucas Reichel to Philip Kurashev, but I think setting consequences is important. And if you missed our interview earlier this week with Alex Vlasic, when we asked him, like, what are some of the traits you want in a head coach? accountability was the first thing he said.
Mhm.
That was the first thing he said. And I've kind of followed up and said, hey, do you feel like that's been an issue? And he said, no, but it's important. Like, he kind of went out of his way to, I don't think he's going to say, yes, it's a problem. There's no point at this point, but I don't know. I think it had to be done. It was the right thing to do.
Especially with the notion that the team is going to be young next season. Even if it's not all of these young guys, it's still going to be a young team. So you want to instill that, that part of things of like the accountability, and it's different in the NHL compared to college or junior, wherever you're coming from. Like, you have to be, as Sorenson said in his short explanation of why Reichel is, you have to be a professional, and being professional means abiding by what the team expects of you.
And you would think that this would be the last time Lucas Reichel makes this mistake.
Hopefully, yeah.
All right, here are the lines for tonight. First line, Connor Bedard centering Ryan Donato and Ilya Mikheyev. Frank Nazar with Teuvo Teravainen and Tyler Bertuzzi. Oliver Moore playing center with Slaggert and Kurashev. Joe Veleno, Nick Foligno, and Pat Maroon are your fourth line. Your D pairs, Vlasic and Renzel, Kaiser and Levshinov, Korchinski and Murphy. So Korchinski is back in. Del Mastro sits, and Spencer Knight in goal. So that's the change from last game. Kurashev, Korchinski in, Reichel, Del Mastro out. I have no problem with this. I like these lines. I'm glad Korchinski's getting back in.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to tell where people stand right now in the organizational depth chart. I think it can kind of change as time goes on. Maybe they're saying NHL readiness right now, they've got Del Mastro over Korchinski, but in terms of the 2, 3, 4 year plan, they probably got Korchinski over Del Mastro.
Maybe.
It's interesting to see how they manage that. But Vlasic, obviously, and Renzel, Kaiser have not been taken out since coming back up, and neither is Levshinov. So I'm here for it.
Yeah,
I think it kind of tells you where their head's at.
I mean, they're at a spot where all the guys that you want to see play, you can't play them all, especially the defensemen. You can't play all those guys, and you can't go all kids, with Vlasic being the most senior of them. Like, you still need someone like Connor Murphy in there to be that veteran, to kind of settle things down and I guess be the leader of the defensive group as it is. So I'm completely fine with it. I know Del Mastro had a good game last game, but I think you are in a spot where you don't necessarily have to ride the hot hands with some of those players. Like, you got to give Korchinski minutes if he's here. Like, that's the reason that he's here. Let him play. So good to see him get back in. And yeah, I mean, it's exciting. It's the way that Renzel has played first few games of his career. If he keeps rolling that tonight, like, that's just more positivity at the end of this season. And even in losses, like, you break it down to the little things you take away from the game. The last game, it was a loss, but there was still positive takeaways from that game, where you blow a 2-0 lead, you lose the game, and yet you're still taking away positives because the young guys are playing the ways that you would expect them to, and in some cases exceeding that. That's basically all you can ask for at this point.
That's what matters, is, do the young guys look overwhelmed? Do the young guys look lost? The answer to that is a resounding no from pretty much all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think you've seen one guy come up here and you go, oh boy, this is too much for him.
Yeah, I think
not at all.
Oliver Moore has been as advertised so far.
He's been fine. I don't think that he's been great. He's not. I think when you're saying who's more impressive, Renzel or Moore, I think it's
been
obviously
Renzel.
Yeah. But again, I like to use the analogy. If you brought someone here from another planet and said, who's playing their third NHL game, I don't think anyone would pick Oliver Moore out of that hat.
Yeah, and the things that made him, a target for the Blackhawks and made him a first-round pick and made him the highly touted prospect that he has been, the speed, the tenacity, like, playing hard on the puck, forechecking, trying to get down the center of the ice, and his attacks, like a lot of things Frank Nazar does, Oliver Moore's been doing that.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you want to see from him.
All right. Nick Foligno talked before or after morning skate as well, and he talked about Alex Ovechkin and his race to pass Wayne Gretzky. Let's give a listen to the Hawks captain and then discuss the Ovechkin angle of this game.
Is it kind of fun, I guess, to have this challenge to try to stop it?
Well, I just think we should honor. I'm a big historian in hockey, so I think we should just honor the fact that this is a pretty credible milestone, right? Like, these are moments in time where you get to see players really, become legends in the league, right? He's already won, but this is a pretty incredible number that he's reaching, and to witness it firsthand for a lot of years is a testament to him and just what he's meant to hockey, right? Like, I think the biggest thing I take away from Ovi is just his passion. Right, like when he scores, he's genuinely excited, and I think sometimes that's lost in the players now, where I don't see as much excitement. This guy's done it 900 times, and he's still as excited as his first one. So I think there's something to be said about that. When you love to score goals, it attracts those to you, and I think he's been a great role model in that way of just showing how much fun it is to score goals, why you love scoring goals, and he's a guy that's done it as good as anybody, and will be the best of all time pretty soon.
He's right about that. I agree with him about the passion. Ovechkin, every goal feels like his first.
Never wavered.
Yeah. All right, I've been thinking about this for weeks. And do I want to see Alex Ovechkin break the record against the Hawks? I have made up my mind.
Your mind?
No.
No. Resounding no.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Now, I will add this caveat.
Mm-hmm.
If it was a home game and we were going to be there, I might think a little differently. If I had the ability to witness it in person, might change it a little bit. But because it's on the road, because I'm not going to be physically in the building, F that, do it somewhere else. You've already made your history against the Hawks, scoring 800.
Yes, that's exactly what happened when he was in the chase to get to 800. It was a ESPN or TNT. I think it was an ESPN game.
I forget. Yeah, it was national though.
And Capitals were in town. He was on 797. And I remember the three of us, we were going to the game and being like, what if he scores a hat trick to get to 800? And lo and behold, he did. And it was insane. And yeah, being there in the building for that was crazy. I think this is a bigger moment. This is one that when he does surpass it, that's going to, I mean, how many times have you seen over the decades of the highlight of Gretzky breaking the record originally? And he's running and he's got his arms up and stuff like that's etched in the history of the NHL forever. I don't want that for Alex Ovechkin with Blackhawks players in the background. I don't want Spencer Knight, hanging his head as all the Capitals jump off the bench because Ovechkin just did a hat trick to break the record. Absolutely not.
I'm good.
If he can. This season, the way it has gone, let history happen. Let it be someone else's problem. I absolutely do not want to see that hat trick for history again. If he gets a goal tonight, great. One, fine. But absolutely not. I do not want to see the record broken against the Blackhawks. This team does not deserve that this season. I don't know the Capitals' schedule after this game. Hopefully they have a few home games so it can happen at home. I think that would be a lot of fun for Capitals fans. If you've seen some of the tweets from Mark Lazarus and Ben Pope before the game, there's a palpable buzz around DC for history on the horizon. But let it be somebody else's problem. I absolutely do not want to see it tonight.
Here are the Blackhawks on the ice for Alex Ovechkin's 800th goal, December 13th, 2022. Connor Murphy, Jack Johnson.
Sure, yeah. Remember that.
Jujhar Khaira, Jason Dickinson, Patrick Kane, and the goalie was Peter Mrazek.
Well, only guy left is Connor Murphy, so Dickinson's not active. But I really hope it's not tonight.
All right, tell Mike Stramaglio to get out of our chat here with his Hurricanes avatar and pro Washington Capitals chatter.
Whatever,
pal.
We are shouting out the chat. Shout out to X the Knockout X coming over here from the German DEL playoffs. Shout out there. We're familiar with the DEL because of Lucas Reichel. It's where he was drafted out of and where he might be headed to. Once the season's over, you never know. But yeah, hey, we're CHGO Sports, CHGO Blackhawks. We are a worldwide enterprise.
We are easy to find.
Very easy to find.
That's the difference game between CHGO and CHSN.
This game, on the other hand, this is the game that's on the U, right? Is
it this one?
CIU? I think so. I think it's this one.
I don't know. I don't know anymore.
There is a
I can't keep up with
game
all
that
this
will be
crap.
on the U. I think it's this one. I'm not entirely sure.
Here, let's see. The game day.
But yeah, because that was a PR press.
No, I think that's the
announcement.
Pittsburgh game.
Is it Pittsburgh? Okay.
Yeah. This one's on CHSN, and I
Okay.
believe on NHL Network for those not in Chicagoland.
And again, I don't want to. I gotta stop saying things that I have no idea if they're true or not.
Meh.
Isn't there like
Game
a
75.
there's like a alt cast? Is it through ESPN Plus maybe where it just follows Ovechkin? So there might
That
be
should be
like
easy.
I think there's like a Great 8 Chase like stream or channel or something like that.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I mean, he doesn't move very much. It's just
Yeah, if there's a
him-
power play, that the camera's going to be
just him at the circle.
pretty still. But yeah, that's cool, and I'm sure, heaven forbid, he gets 2 goals tonight with plenty of game to play. I'm sure on all the major networks, sports networks, it's going to be Alex Ovechkin is on the ice, and we're gonna go live to his shift and all that stuff as he looks to break the record. Hopefully that's not the case tonight. Again, let it be someone else's problem. But if that happens, I know as baseball is done, like Pujols was going for 600 home runs, or Ohtani and all
and
that
that
stuff.
Sosa McGuire stuff.
Yeah.
I know you were like 3 when that happened, but
8. It was 8 when that happened.
I hate it here. Kempin with a good question says, based on what you saw against the talent of Colorado, what are we looking to gain for this matchup against the Caps? What I want to see in this one is you want to talk about big physical forechecking teams. I want to see how the Hawks' young defense handles that, because
It's another.
they are. If you missed a Carolina game the other night where there were 700 penalty minutes in the last 5 minutes of the game,
Yeah, jeez.
this is a physical team, big, strong. I mean, Tom Wilson's on there, but he's just one example of the many, many big physical forwards they have. So I want to see how they handle it. They're going to get pressured. There's going to be a strong forecheck from the Caps, and I want to see how these young guys hang on.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time of the year where those top teams are getting into, and for some of them are in playoff mode. I think it's what you saw in the Hurricanes and Capitals game, is 2 teams that are like on the path to face each other or being in each other's way towards the Stanley Cup. They're in those modes. And this is a team that I think a lot of people maybe didn't expect them to be in this at this point, top seed in the Eastern Conference, and they've really hit their stride. And yeah, they've got big guys to worry about. You got Alex Ovechkin to worry about. Dylan Strome is a factor. Like there's a lot of talent on this team, so it's going to be another tough test. And as much as there's litmus tests and lesson learning to be to come for the young Blackhawks against guys like the speed of Nathan McKinnon, the all around game of Cale Makar, and the multiple ways that he can beat you and on that Colorado team, and what we saw in that game. You got it with this Capitals team. There's Ovechkin, there's Wilson, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Like, there's enough guys that are threats in multiple ways that as Kevin Hart says, you're gonna learn today. Like, those young guys are gonna get a lesson tonight, and hopefully they do it in a win. That'd be nice.
Do we need to have an apology to PLD? Because that was
no one remembers what we said about him.
That's right. It's a 1-year thing. Well, all right, we'll see if the Capitals are desperate to trade him next season. But can we talk about Alexei Protas, by the way? 6'6", 247, 24 years old, 30 goals, 36 assists. This is a large man.
It's big.
And I would like said large man, or a large man like him, on the Blackhawks.
Well, there's Marcel.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, when you got the ability to put up 30 goals and you're, basically an NFL tight end, you're gonna go places. So yeah, I mean, it's, again, size and strength is still valuable in the NHL. Having guys that can move at that size is also very valuable, as you see with how the Blackhawks are investing in their defense. I think Wyatt Kaiser's is the smallest guy, and he's still probably over 6 foot. And they have those big players. Getting the physicality part of things is going to be the next step. You got a lot of fast forwards, but you see a guy like Boisvert in the system, AJ Spellacy in the system. Like, they have players that are going to bring that physical edge coming down the pipeline. But the Capitals, I think they've done a really good job of getting those kinds of players, investing in those kinds of players. Tom Wilson, I mean, for as much as you want to dog on him for how much of a jag he is on the ice,
player.
he's extremely effective.
Yes.
He's in the like Matthew Tkachuk style of like throwback player of like, we'll beat you up, hit you through the boards, and also put up 30 goals. Like it's impressive to have guys like that be in those roles.
The other thing to keep an eye on for this one with the Caps is if you watch the World Junior Championships, Ryan Leonard, who is a star of Team USA, this is his third NHL game. Got called up when his season ended. No goals, no assists so far. I'm going to go on a record, and I'm going to say he gets a point at least in this game.
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, if
Ovechkin can score if we see Ryan Leonard's first goal and the Hawks win 4-1, cool.
Yeah, that I will accept that.
Yeah,
that'll be fine.
I'm down for that.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Ryan Leonard, Sam Renzel, Frank Nazar, Oliver Moore, all those guys know each other really well. So we'll see how they all match up against each other. And yeah, I mean, that was a guy that, when we were around trade deadline time and, it was, who could we, what future players, what on the cusp NHL prospects or something could the Blackhawks be enticed in? Ryan Leonard was one of them when we were talking about Ryan Donato and all the possibilities. So it'll be fun to see him in NHL action tonight.
Lots of former Hawks on the Caps. You already mentioned Dylan Strome, who is slowed down from his early season 165 point pace. He's got 73 points in 75
still
games.
Pretty good. He'd lead this team.
You've got the Trevor Van Riemsdyk experience, 21 points in 75 games for him.
Still going. Good for him.
Yeah. Taylor Radish, 27 points in 73 games. Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Beauvillier with 25 points in 75 games.
Good for him.
There's a lot of former Hawks on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said the Hawks lost the Dylan Strome trade. No, they didn't. They just let him walk.
Yeah, they didn't trade him.
That's one that really... I still don't love that.
In the moment, I mean, yeah, you don't... They were in a position to, like, it would suck to have him walk, but also at that moment, you didn't think that Dylan Strome was going to be close to a point-per-game guy or anything like that. Like, it was up and down. You thought maybe that one season was the product of being placed between Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat, but
didn't hurt.
As you see with Strome, like, couldn't really get it together in Arizona, but also he didn't really have a team to get it together with. Like, he didn't, and then he gets to Chicago and he works well with DeBrincat and Kane, has 51 points in 58 games. Like, he was instantly like, oh, this guy's fixed. And then they put him on the fourth line, and they were like, "Hey, be a defensive center." I was like, "That's not his game."
Yeah,
and then,
Colleton didn't like him, right?
Yeah, Colleton didn't like him. Derek King, admittedly, was just like, "I don't know how to use
signal
him."
To re-sign a guy.
Yeah, and then he goes to the Capitals, and lo and behold, plays with more talented guys. Plays with guys that are more finishers, like Alex Ovechkin. And he's playing great. Like, some of these guys are complementary players, and when you put them with really talented players, they excel. Like, it's not bad in sports to be considered a Robin to someone's Batman. Yeah, because that means you're doing pretty good for yourself.
You don't always have to be a star.
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking about that too this year with like the Kurashev and Reichel thing, and how Kurashev came into this year with higher expectations. But he's got 12 points in 46 games. There's no doubt it's a disappointment, right?
Coming off of 54 points last year,
12 points in 46 games. Lucas Reichel has 21 in 66.
It's a career high.
Like, expectations should not completely derail. Like, while we thought you'd be capable of more because you did more before, Kurashev did more before. Right? So, I don't know. I think people, they're trying to will Lucas Reichel into being something maybe he's not. Because he was a first-round pick, and because you see the raw tools, the speed, you've seen flashes this year, but the production just has not been there for him. And it feels like he gets more chances than Kurashev because Kurashev has failed more spectacularly this year, but that's based on what he did last year, where he was a 50-point guy. So it's kind of a weird balance, and I think Strome is kind of the same thing where, look, like, you've got a guy capable of 50 that plays in your bottom six, and he's still pretty young. Like, okay, you don't have to be mad about it, right? Like, maybe he's 30, maybe he's 25, maybe he's somewhere in between, but At least you've seen him do it before. And I do think that Strome thing, again, because he was a first-round pick and because he came with expectations and because he wasn't a perfect player, there was this rush to just move on from him. It's fine to have a guy like that.
Right.
To have a 50, 60-point guy that's inconsistent but a constant point producer, can kind of move up and down the lineup. I don't know. I feel like that was kind of a blown opportunity.
Well, the problem was also, though, you knew at that time you were going to be moving on from DeBrincat. You were going to be moving on. I think you were moving on from Hagel. The rebuild was on the horizon. So keeping Strome around without anybody that was going to be better than him, if you were going to say, "Oh, Dylan Strome's our marquee player," like, you were going to be in trouble.
Oh, for sure.
So,
but I also don't know if it moves the needle in terms of, well, he would have won Connor Bedard in the draft lottery, but not for that dastardly Dylan Strome ruining the plans.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, we're going to wrap things up. The game's about to start. We're going to be here as soon as the game ends. Don't miss it. We will tweet out everything and all that jazz. So make sure you're here to join us post-game on the CHGO Blackhawks post-game show powered by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.